give back in return for their own good fortune in business. Whereas Edna's thick head of hair gave John the big idea to shave their heads for donations to raise funds for kids with cancer. Whereas the first St. Paul's event in 2000 saw 19 heads shaved bald, raising over $100,000 to fund children's oncology research. And within 2 years, the event caught on across the country, raising more than $1 million. And whereas 2025 marks the 26th year of St. Baldrick's volunteers and donors working to conquer kids' cancer. And whereas the Red Jug Pub is hosting an annual head shaving event March 9th, with the goal of raising $30,000 through the help of members of the city fire department and police department, dozens of shavees, and the generosity of many businesses and individuals. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Scott Steve, Mayor of the City of Portland, extend the city's gratitude for the generosity of spirit, time, and monetary donations offered through the St. Baldrick's Foundation and the many local donors, volunteers, and organizations, in particular, Tom Terwilliger and the Red Jug Pub.
All right, Mr. Terwilliger, if you could come up, please, maybe just make a quick rendition of what the big events are this year, which is Sunday. It's coming up this Sunday.
Sunday at 1 o'clock. We want you there. Hope you can be there. Hey, folks, this town of Portland is okay. I'm here to tell you. This is our 12th event. Today, we exceeded $500,000 raised. It's the 12th event in Portland. I've done events throughout the state. It's the 12th event in Portland, maybe 26, 7, 8 in other places. Portland is by far the most generous. Portland is by far the most concerned. Portland may also be by far the most impacted by cancer. And I'm sorry to say that, but I think that might have some truth to it. These folks, CPD, CFD, are especially supportive of us. We thank them. Thank the newspaper too. They've covered this with great vigor, and we appreciate that. This is a good event. Portland's a good town. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, you will. You might, I want to memorize.
For sure. Again, we appreciate everything they do, and that's a great event. We appreciate everybody that participates as part of that, whether they get donations or otherwise. All right, so next, what do we have? Public hearing. So we have a proposal of law to amend chapter 29 of the administrative code to authorize the common council to adopt by resolution a management plan setting forth terms and conditions of employment for all non-union employees. Anybody here that would like to speak to that public hearing? Second call to amend chapter 29 of the administrative code to authorize the common council to adopt by resolution a management plan setting forth terms and conditions of employment for all non-union employees. Last call to amend chapter 29 of the administrative code to authorize the common council to adopt by resolution a management plan setting forth terms and conditions of employment for all non-union employees. Nobody here to speak to that. We're going to close that meeting and we'll go to privilege of the floor. Is there anybody signed up for privilege of the floor?
Just Chief Nichols.
Chief Nichols, please approach the podium.
Good evening. I'm here to talk about parking. Specifically tonight, I have some pre-tick. Am I with you now?
Yeah.
I'm here to talk about parking. I belong to the Noon Rotary Club at the Elks Building. And these are some pictures taken today of the Groton Avenue parking lot. As you can see, signs are knocked down, signs aren't clear on where to park, and it's causing confusion. It's very limited on the number of handicap parking spaces. There used to be several along by the Hollywood. So when you pulled off of Groton Avenue, you could pull right into a couple of handicap spots. They're now missing. It's confusing especially with older people, I believe, maybe even some of us younger ones, on where to park when it comes to permit parking, residential and business. One of our members received a ticket last week. Has been working downtown for numerous years, attends Rotary faithfully, and received a parking ticket for apparently parking in one of these restricted residential business areas. Today, I was talking to one of our older members. He inadvertently parked in the same kind of area. And I said, gee, there's a chance you might get a parking ticket there. He said, well, I'm so old, it's hard for me to walk back and move my car again. So he just took his chances and came in. And I'm constantly hearing at Rotary meetings about the parking problem. There's numerous parking places, if you haven't been over there, if you're a business person or a resident. What we need is more parking for the general public. It's 2-hour parking. So if I go to one of the restaurants downtown with my wife and family, I'm probably going to spend 2 hours in that facility. The Hollywood or Los Logos community. And then maybe I want to run around downtown and run a couple of errands. You can't do it in 2 hours. You need at least 3 to accomplish that usually. So my suggestion is maybe we consider going back blanket 3-hour parking, odd, even. So they know, people know enough to move their cars at nighttime to either the odd side or the even side. And we allow them to park that way. The city can plow, they can sweep the street, whatever they have to do. And then create more handicap parking. We have an older population, I think, that visits downtown. And they need handicap parking, not the 2 or 3 spots that I believe are in this parking lot. One other locations, and then I'll sit down, is over at Port Watson Street. There is no parking in there for the general public. I believe it's all restricted. So if you're going to a repertory theater, where do you park? There's no place to park. Park across the street, I guess, or up on Main Street. So that's another area that needs to be addressed. Did I say something wrong? Oh. So that's another area that needs addressing. So these are just a couple of places I wanted to point out. One more thing that just dawned on me. When you come to pull into the Grotonat parking lot, the Alps parking lot, Hollywood parking lot, there's one entrance into that lot. It's not sufficient. I'm there constantly. The other day, it was a battle of who could crash into each other first. I had 2 or 3 vehicles trying to pull out of the lot. We had a tractor trailer in front of the Hollywood trying to unload. So we had a car coming around that vehicle. And then you had me trying to turn in. So I would like to see us hammer out another place to pull in and pull out. I know there's a fire hydrant in there down towards Los Lagos, but maybe that can be worked out, or we can either widen this other spot or create a separate place to pull in and out. And before I leave, the night I was promoted to chief many years ago, there was nothing as prestigious as this. The first thing we had to do was remove a disorderly person who was complaining about his wife being stolen. So we had to get that straightened out, get him out of the building. The second thing we had to wait for was a person who wanted a permit for his pig. So we had to get that issue. My daughter was with us. She was attending SUNY Portland at the time. She leaned over and she said, "Dad, this is a very impressive operation."
Thank you for sharing that, Chief. Moving forward.
History's come a long way.
All right, well, thank you for your comments. I'll address some of them in the mayor's report after the finance report. Sergeant Fisk, you're free to not have to listen to the pigs and the other stories, that for sure. Free to go, but we appreciate it. Okay, so we'll move the finance report.
Okay, the finance report is just verbal this time. I'm hoping to have an actual written report for you when we are together in 2 weeks. We are still working on closing out 2024. Our auditors are still wrapping up 2023. We thought we'd have the financials by now, and we need those in order to make the journal entries in 23, so that then we can have the proper starting point for 24 to then close out 24. So we are a bit behind, still waiting on the auditors. I keep asking them and they keep saying any day now. So I am optimistic and I am encouraging them to be both precise but also timely, which we're working on. So with that in mind, a preliminary look at our expenditures. It looks like we did stay within budget on our expenditures. So hopefully we will be able to give you a good solid report on that here in another 2 weeks. Initially, with the opening of 25, we've just finished the initial portion of the tax collection. We brought in about 15 million combined city county taxes. So that's roughly half for the city, half for the county, but we're on track with that. We were very pleased with how smoothly that was running. So we're moving along in the right direction. Codes has also been doing well already this year with working on their permitting and collections as well. So we seem to be off to a very positive start. More to follow. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? So mayor's report. Couple things, so obviously parking has been a continuous project for dealing with it. So I just want to address a couple things. The reason there's one entrance is so that we could gain more parking, so we gain more parking by doing that, by adding the lines in to do that. That entrance we've been battling with all winter as is too narrow and not done to specs as the drawings have. We're waiting until spring till they fix that, so that's why it's kind of restrictive to get enough cars in and out of there. So that is recognized, and that was an error in the contractor, which will be rectified here very shortly if we ever get rid of the sites. Port Watson Street, so it is parking in Groton and in Port Watson. All the preliminary areas are green to be for 2-hour parking. And recognize that also the business parking after, let me get this wrong, after 5 or 6, is it 5? After 5 o'clock, those business parking spots become those 2-hour spots. The purpose for the 2 hours instead of 3 hours is because a lot of the abuse factor that we were seeing were, let's say, I'm not picking on it particularly, but let's say a student was going to class. So they would go down there and park and go to a class and push past those 2-hour points and come down, and we're doing that. The purpose of getting out of odd even was again to designate those areas in the middle instead of having that area that we have a way to reach them now to move their cars to plow and maintain. And that's been working better than have before. And those long-term parking spots were actually on the front of running parallel to Groton. So we made the whole along all the businesses, all along the outside perimeter, it's all 2 hour. So we increased the 2 hour by like 30% from what it had been before. Plus all the business spots that are there are become 2 hour spots. We gain parking there as well. And not saying we don't have a problem, because we're looking into, how do we expand and how do we make it happen more? And we reduce the amount of residential spots that are in that lot. So this is not a current problem. This is not something I haven't addressed, and something we won't continue to do it. The handicap parking we've done, again, I think one more than what we had, what was there prior to, and those give and takes are also part of the issue to do that. Again, any parking ticket can be appealed, and they do get appealed if somebody is there longer. There's not a lot of heavy enforcement for the 3 hours, over 2 hours, but we're getting the people that can get the habits to not go up to class and just abandon their car there. But anybody who says, look, I had to park there because I'm handicapped and I couldn't get close enough. Those appeals will be let go every day. So those appeal process. So the active parking tickets are to, again, enforce those lots, to give everybody the ability to use those lots. And we see very little of the 2 hour expiration unless they're abused and they're there for quite a bit of time. So there is leeway that is given beyond that. I think I answered all those questions, and I do have a meeting with the Hollywood restaurant exec tomorrow to talk about other ideas and other thoughts. So we're always open for other ideas and other thoughts, and we'll continue to work on doing that. But to get it out another spot for our long-term parkers, which are residents of those Main Street. and Groton, they're not everywhere else, they're not up on the hill, they're all right within that vicinity. And there's still not enough for them, and some of those people have to walk a long ways. So we get calls from parents that have children, maybe they're workers or college kids that live above, they get up the community. And they have to walk from Groton Ave or a different parking lot, like they walk from Main Street parking lot or the Youth Bureau parking lot over to there, and they're concerned. Or even on Clinton Ave, we've tried to push some long-term parking in Clinton Ave. It's just, it's a constant battle, and we're trying to manage what was needed for those properties that are down there and the businesses that are downtown as well. So we'll continue to try to manage that the best we can and try to do that. Next meeting, you'll have an educational series from EDR coming in on the 18th for a status and update for planning on our comprehensive plan. So I just wanted to make sure we're that. I will not be here, so Mr. Beckwith will be on for that meeting. And then I just want to make a general statement about potholes. I think Mike's here, so I'll address that. So everybody's having difficulty with potholes, so I'm sure we'll probably hear that over and over again. We get many calls and, you know, you got to do something, and it's really frustrating because they go out, patch it, and literally the next morning it's gone. And it's such a wasteful thing, but we have to make an effort to try to do it. The frost has been particularly bad this year. There's been a lot of moisture that's gotten inside of the ground because, you know, the warm days, and then the water gets in there and then it freezes and pushes up and down. And everybody's had difficulty, as we talked about last meeting, about getting rid of the ice, the issues with that. And this isn't just in our municipality. And last year we were criticized about how aggressive we were in doing so many streets and paving them. And just think if there would be that many more potholes that we wouldn't have. But the DPW has taken innovative ideas such as grinding down areas that are really a bunch of potholes. I know out past Mr. Carpenter's district towards his way, it gets pretty bad out there. Clinton, we're working with DOT to try to get them to get ahead of it so we can get some good plans next year to cut that out and get some permanent solutions done over there instead of this short-term patching, which is their road, so we have to follow what they want to require. But we're going to continue to push on that, and we'll continue to address a lot of these, but it's going to be tomorrow, actually, we're working on the finalized plan on the streets that get paved, and certainly they're going to be the worst of the worst in the pothole world. So, but I ask for everybody's patience. We're hoping that in the next couple of weeks that it'll calm down and our patches will hold. We've tried concrete, we tried a bunch of different things to try to get that to happen, but it is very frustrating, and we all get it. And we hit some of them, it's pretty tough. I've heard jokes of Crown City is where you hit your head, you're hitting potholes. I say it knocks a crown out of your teeth, maybe, I don't know. So I think, but it's difficult. We just all need to, you know, drive slow and try to do what we can to avoid them, and we'll continue to work at hard at patching and getting to the paving season. But that asphalt plant can't open fast enough, and the construction can't start fast enough, as far as I'm concerned, to fix the issues that we talked about and the potholes for sure.
Mayor,
Yes.
how warm does it have to be to start that?
Usually the asphalt, you want to get it so it maintains its level, so you
Right.
still see some lifting until that frost goes out. But usually end of April would be early for the asphalt plant to open. They'll start doing some more, will be more cold patches, which isn't a long-term solution, but cutting back and redoing those would be helpful to work that out. So, but it's going to be, you know, April, May, so we got a couple months, of it, but we'll patch it so it won't be as bad. Some of them get pretty bad.
Start selling them bucket cups.
Yes. But again, we appreciate
I
everybody's
got
work.
work up the other day, I wouldn't even see it, I've never been even around here, so I don't feel bad, we got them, I travel a lot.
Yeah.
It's all over, so we be patient.
Here I've ever seen,
Right.
anywhere.
Agreed, 100%. So we're being tested for that. So with that, we'll move to ward reports. Alderman Scott.
All quiet in Ward 1.
Alderman Sullivan.
Today, I'm wearing all red in support of public education. Thank you. Thanks, Bill. Whether you meant to or not. I missed the town gown committee meeting, but I understand that they're working on the big event. if you are interested in having students come and help you with some project on your property, you can probably call the city or you could call me and I'll get the information to you. And my number is 607-756-7864. I would like to step down from the town gown committee and be on the comprehensive planning committee. So I'll put that out there. We had an email from Bruce Adams about the COVID levels in our community, and they're not too bad, but he had an interesting blurb. I don't know if you guys saw it on his email about there being bird flu in cats, domestic cats in New Jersey, because they're outdoor cats and the bird flu is going around the bird population. And so now it's getting into people's cats. So just a thought, I no longer have cats and mine were indoor, outdoor, but they're advising people to keep their cats indoors. I want to thank Roy Everett for dealing with the property on West Main that's been an eyesore for a long time and it's really coming along. So I appreciate that. I have concerns about the light at Groton, Pleasant, and Fulmer Ave. They're green in opposing directions. So. That's it.
I didn't address that, but like, if you don't mind, I'll just
Sure.
jump in. So when you come down Pleasant, for example, and you go down Pleasant, that light tells you to turn green. You make a left, there's a light immediately above your head, and that tells you to go green. Because you have to go through the intersection. But if you're setting back, coming down from Main Street, you'll see that light is red and the next light is green. Some people are looking past the red one and seeing the green one and going through it. So what they're going to rectify that is to put a lens on that light so you can't see the second light unless you're directly under it. So that's part of that.
My problem was I was going north on Pleasant, so I was going down the hill on Pleasant in order to cross Groton and continue on Fulmer Ave. And so my light was green. And I always look to see what the other light is because I'm waiting for it to change. And the light on Groton Ave was also green. And I thought, okay, well, nobody's coming, so I'm gonna take my light. But the same thing happened when I was coming home, going the opposite direction. So just somebody should camp out there for a second, check out that situation. Meanwhile, just be careful at that light.
There's temporarily.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but
The lights have been
Okay,
operational.
back.
The secondary lights make it appear that that's the one that's through the intersection. It's a tricky situation.
And the last thing I want to say is that spring is winning. It's coming. You can hear it, the birds, the melt is happening. You can see sidewalk again. So take heart.
Love the passion for sure. Ms. Pennell.
So I also want to thank Roy Everett. There've been some concerns about codes in the third ward, but he's addressed them. And he's on top of it, and that's it.
Perfect, thank you, Mr. Captain Everett. Ms. Lane.
Pat Rolls, like you said. And I would also like to thank you.
Oh, Christ, you getting, looking for.
No, there's a gentleman, before it turned warm, there was a gentleman who was working diligently chopping the ice on the sidewalk on Tompkins Street. And so I appreciate the fact that he was doing that.
I appreciate all the kudos, but I have a wonderful staff that works for me, so, and I cannot take all the credit, so a lot of it goes to them, so. thank you.
Pass it on down to them. That's it for the board.
And they have been
Goods are
phenomenal.
welcome.
They have been phenomenal. They really have stepped up. We were talking about that. I think we had 21. They've really been stepping up, so we appreciate that. Mr. Thompson.
Similar, concerns as follows. We did have a street light out there before we put down here, but that's about it.
You? Mr. Carter.
Oh, quite, 6 Ward.
Mr. Beckwith.
So Thompson, so we got all these potholes, so must be the deers can't cross the road anymore, they can't break away. There is a new slang word they put in the dictionary today too, it's called PS. Pothole.
As Katie and, Councilman Sullivan mentioned, spring is coming and they'll be back out again.
Or they're on dinner here, that's what they do.
Code was out this weekend real quick, I'm not gonna commend Roy anymore, but, they were out. Sidewalk detail, unfortunately, there's a lot of people got lucky. And I wish they did.
Yeah.
It was due time to shovel their damn sidewalks and they didn't get to it, but now most of it's gonna be gone, but. There's a lot of them, and I know they were busy, but they got out there. They got a ration, you know what? Hey, people gotta do, that's right, they take care of it.
Great.
Come down by me, you don't have sidewalk.
Nothing, we'll move out. Thank you, Mr. Mike.
Actually, a neighbor, hit the pothole by, Corn Standard yesterday. Seriously has damage to the front end of her car. I'm just waiting to see the extent of that, but, you know, we had some nice days. I'd like to see DPW out there starting to fill some of these.
It's on a homer app, we're in it every day.
Oh, they've done.
Yep, that's all I have. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, they've been out every day and hit them all, and then the next day they're more, so,
I've noticed it on the Homer app,
Yeah.
it's better,
but
yeah.
still a long ways, so we'll keep working. All right, thank you all for that. Approval of minutes. Anybody have any additions, deletions, or corrections? Can I get a motion to approve? Ms. Silliman, Mr. Carpenter, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
So do we have to approve the previous minutes as well, because the numbers or something were missing, you had it. We had 2 sets of minutes,
I don't think
okay.
all right, so, I'll move the executive session until after this one, because it's not about this one, it's about the second agenda, so, we're gonna go to agenda item number 1, confirm mayor's appointment of corporation council.
Resolved that the City of Cortland Common Council does hereby confirm the mayor's appointment, Randall S. Lewis, to serve as corporation counsel.
I'll move it.
Scott. So, we're excited, Mr. Lewis is in the audience, and hopefully we'll get his oath after we get this, motion approved. I invite everybody afterwards, media and everybody, department heads, anybody else that's here, common council, to get a few minutes with them, so you get a chance to get some introduction, so you feel comfortable in reaching out and having a conversation with them. Executive committee met, was able to have the conversations with them as well, and we're certainly excited to get on board. And we have a list to go. I see the police, the deputy chief back there smiling, and code office, so be ready, you're gonna get to be your friends. Or enemies, I don't know, whatever you're gonna work through, so. Anybody else have anything for that?
I kind of had Mr. Lewis picked out, when I first came in, so, pleasure having you come on board, sir.
Yes, welcome.
My wife, worked for a judge for 30 years, so you kind of pick out the attorneys and.
I told you, he's gonna share his jokes, I can have lots of attorney jokes, like those, some of the conversations we had, so he's ready for that, right? So, all right, with that, let's, move it, please.
Councilmember Scott.
Aye.
Councilmember Dillon.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
All right, you wanna do this swearing in while you're here? Make
And the door's unlocked.
Stand up, come out, right, raise your hand, and get to the side of this. Raise your right hand, I state your name.
Randall Lewis,
You solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States,
to support the Constitution of the United States,
Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York.
faithfully discharge my duties,
I will faithfully discharge my duties
Corporation Counsel,
as Corporation Counsel
for the City of Portland.
for the City of Cortland.
All right.
Yeah.
Department heads can drag them out back now and have at it. if you want. We're gonna wait till you go to executive session. Yes, that's a good point.
I get first dibs.
When you go into executive session, maybe you could do that. All right, so I'd like to accept a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Public Officers Law published in 105-1 to discuss collective bargaining agreement pursuant to Article 14 of Civil Service Law 105-1E and matters leading to the employment of a person. That's more for that, collective bargaining. Do we have any questions for that? So I'll take a motion from somebody, Ms. Lane, Mr. Scott. All in favor of executive session?
Aye.
Okay, executive session and we'll do that.
I'm confused. There's no buttons on this mouse. How are you supposed to? There we go. We gotta pause this. Pause.
Three and who moved to move out of executive session? Mr. Beckwith, who was the second? Mr. Scott. Move back out of executive session, unanimous to come back. Okay, so agenda item number 2, approve collective bargaining unit with the Service Employees International Union, SEIU, Local 200 United.
Resolved that the City of Portland Common Council hereby approves the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Portland and the Service Employees International Union, SEIU, Local 200 United, for the period ending December 31st, 2027, as presented. And be it further resolved that the Common Council hereby authorizes Mayor Steve to execute the collective bargaining agreement as presented and is ratified by the SEIU Local 200 United membership.
I'll move it.
Mr. Bell, Mr. Scott, just to just go through the highlights so that for everybody that we discussed it in executive session, so we have an idea of what we talked about. There's some simple language changes, he, she, they, and the union has rights within 10 days to be notified of the city of any kind of items. There was a clothing allowance stipend in there for clothing allowance that was removed. There was a Me Too clause that I call it. There's a clause in there saying that they would be entitled to 2 other unions' rate of increase if their contract was more than what theirs were. That was removed. Their longevity was rolled into wages, so their wages are done in a systematic growth. It was some worded adding to flexible time, so in the previous contract, it was only overtime, so in other words, we had tax collection last week, and people needed to stay late to count their drawers. Ms. Greenwood would allow them to stay later, and then they could flex their time on the same pay period on the next week. So would allow that to make it more reasonable, they could go home the next week or whatever, to make it more reasonable for everybody to be in their best interest. They always have the rights to overtime. Probably one of the big changes was the salaries, because of rolling these stipends and longevity, as well as going from a 35-hour to 40-hour work week. Would increase the salary rates That was a big adjustment to that as well, because we were finding it difficult to hire people. You know, people don't necessarily look at the 35-hour work week, but they look at the overall annual pay, and that was making it difficult. So to hire people, and literally we tried hiring 2 weeks ago. We were having difficulty, so this will be a great plus to that. And then there was a floating day for on one of the holidays, which is changed out, and we now recognize Juneteenth in that union. And then there's a calendar of schedules to show explaining what days are off for New Year's and Christmas, or I guess just Christmas. And then just clarifying the 40-hour work week, well, so that was a change that was made in there. And then trying to consolidate our sick leave time that has been pretty robust for time off to get them to buy into the health insurance. Those are my words, unfunded banks that we've been holding that we don't really have funds for, and we just, either sometimes we're cashing them out or we're long-term tying to those. So to try to get those reduced and really put back forth based on their energy and working towards retirement, trying to clean that up. The health insurance, they went from 12% to 20%. If they went to the level plan, what is that one called? Sorry. Then if you went to the platinum, you could get a 5% reduction. So, so in some cases it would be 12 from 12 to 20, and some would be 12 to 15, based on the incentive to try to get them the PPO. So that's that would be helpful for them and for us. Healthcare coverage upon retirement. And then there's also language in there about attire required upon at work. That was actually their request to make sure that professional attire is worn in that. So, and with also with that is the pay schedule with that. So those were the overall changes that were in that document contract. So if nobody has any questions with that, we'd like to move it.
Councilmember Scott.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 3, amend the 2025 adopted budget for $40,987.
Resolved that the City of Portland County Council does hereby amend the 2025 city budget in the amount of $40,987 as outlined in the accompanying table below. Transferring funds in the amount of $2,067 for the purchase of smoke detectors and $38,920 pay for coaches, referees, for a total of $40,907.
Michaels, Mr. Carpenter, any questions? Okay, vote please.
Councilmember Scott.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Yeah.
Councilmember Beckwith. Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 4, approve workplace violence prevention policy as submitted to the New York State Department of Labor.
Resolved that the City of Portland County Council hereby approves and adopts the workplace violence prevention policy as presented and to be identified as adopted March 4th, 2025 pursuant to this resolution. And be it further resolved that once a year, the city, with the participation of authorized employee representatives, will review the workplace violence prevention program and policy and adopt modifications. Be it further resolved that the Mayor and Director of Administration and Finance are hereby authorized and directed to implement the policy and take appropriate actions to ensure its effectiveness and compliance.
Mr. Scott, Mr. Beckwith. Ms. Greenwood, thank you for putting this document together. We, wastewater, Bruce had an audit from the Department of Labor down there, and these were one of our requirements that they found that we were missing. So Ms. Greenwood put together a developmental plan, which will be continually changed year to year and will be a continual working document to try to do workplace violence. You know, it's about people, costing our people or internally itself. So it's above and beyond that. You know, so we're able to get that out within their timeline and we'll continue to work on it.
Councilmember Scott.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 5, accept and recognize donations to the police department.
Resolved that the city of Portland County Council, on behalf of the mayor and police department, expresses its gratitude for the generosity of the donors listed below. And be it further resolved that the county council hereby accepts the following donations to be appropriated to the council for the purposes below. Donations from Signature Dance Studio in the amount of $600 for the Shop with the Cop program. And a donation from John and Robin Jackson in the amount of $100 for the K-9 fund.
Mr. Scott, Mr. Beckwith, any questions? Thank you again, Mr. Jackson and the dance studio for their contributions. And canines are expensive, very cheap. All right.
Councilmember Scott.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Agenda item number 6, authorize agreement with the county of Cortland and the town of Cortland for shared services mobile stage.
Resolved that the city of Portland County Council hereby authorizes Mayor Steve to execute a memorandum of agreement with the town of Portlandville and county of Portland for the shared services mobile stage.
I'll move it.
I'll second. Mr. Mel, Mr. Scott. Again, we're excited about this program. Hopefully this gets in here before May 3rd, which is the big.
That's ours, right?
It would be, county, Portlandville and the city will share it, yes.
Who's gonna pay for the insurance?
And, it's under Portlandville's insurance and, we will collect, so this will cover the next conversation on the next one. So we cover managing the, dates of scheduling. We with Portlandville, we take turns as far as setting up the stage, so we'll take turns on that. But we'll collect the funds and organize the dates of scheduling. They'll take care of the insurance and maintenance, but we hold the reserve back, and that's what part of the next one is, to put that $2,500 towards it, so that we want to keep getting money, so we can keep upgrading and or eventually replace.
Yeah, that one's old as us.
Right, because our one place, yes, that one
I'm
was,
just making sure we're covered, if somebody's using it, you know. How it is,
yeah, so and so what's gonna come out is people are gonna want a no fee schedule for that. We can't do that. Obviously, there's a cost to doing anything, and we need to keep rolling that cost. So that's part of the intermunicipal agreement, is that there's a cost and it's cast on everybody, and that recurring cost will continue, and we'll make sure that the sanctions events are work out a schedule to do that. So we trust in the youth bureau directors and all of them to work out those scheduling to make that happen. We're excited to have it. We have a lot of plans for it, and can't wait to see it. Okay, move it, please.
Councilmember Scott.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 7, authorize funding reserve account for the mobile stage.
Resolved that the Director of Administration and Finance be and hereby is directed to deposit $2,500 into the shared services mobile storage.
Scott?
Second.
Sullivan? Yeah, so I just want to make sure we touch on the point. So the 3rd of May, we're trying to do a Cinco de Mayo type thing in the parking lot. So there will be no parking that night. So, so we gotta work with that. I didn't tell them yet, so just. So that's hopefully we'll have that. This start talking about that. That's in the planning phase. All right, move it, please.
Councilmember Scott.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan. Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Well, that's not part of this. That's not this resolution.
This is just the funding.
This is just another way.
I'll explain that to you.
They say aye. Yeah.
Think of the mind.
Mr. Beckwith in the affirmative. Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda number 8, authorize agreement, and accept grant funding for New York State Office of Parks, Recreations, and Historic Preservations for Randall Park Improvement Project number 240025.
Resolved that the city of Portland is authorized and directed to accept these grant funds in an amount not to exceed $675,000 for the project described in the grant application. Be it further resolved that the city of Portland is authorized and directed to agree to the terms and conditions of the state of New York contract for grants. The New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, such development of Randall Park. Be it further resolved that the city of Portland is authorized and directed to agree to the terms and conditions of any required deed of easement granted to OPRHP that affects title to real property owned by the city of Portland and is improved by these grant funds, which may be duly recorded, public access, may be a duly recorded public access covenant, conservation easement, and or preservation covenant. And be it further resolved that the governing body of the municipality delegates signing authority to execute the contract, any amendments thereto, any required deed of easement, and any other certifications to the individuals over the following elected appointed municipal office and employment position titles, mayor and director of administration finance.
Mr. Thompson. Mr. Michaels. Again, this is great for that region and great to clean that up. We're excited about having that. This would be the first of another thing for the second phase. Now to doing something with the bathrooms and an area for people to get out of the sun and the heat and the rainstorms that come in the middle of their pickleball games.
I'll be not excited as Billy myself, but it's something that's been long-term, finally coming to light.
There'll be an AED device there for you, Mr. Beckwith, when we do get to our games.
You were never gonna do that.
Oh, yes, I am now.
You wanna know when it's gonna be. though.
They promised we're holding it.
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else?
Just wait for the shelter in case they ring, I might get.
It's AED, sure. Anybody else? Okay, move it, please.
Councilmember Scott.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Okay, so we'll take, before we do, motion to adjourn, I remind everybody to meet, Mr. Lewis, after, if you can take a couple minutes, say a couple words and get to, that would be great. We'll have some cookies and stuff in the other room, and Miss Lane will bring cookies that are for me, and we'll go. I'll take a motion for adjournment. Scott, Beckwith, all in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.